you are so. So you go here, more powers we are complaining. You know, Mama will never complain. You go here, more powers we are saying. You know, more powers we are complaining. No need to on them go your fire. No need to on them go your no need to como que yo, yo llevo, un llevo, como si ella ye, como tal parió, si ella ye, como tal mío, a potar de Chicago, a potar de Italy, si ella ye, a que vas a ya. Vamos que vas a que vas a mon Dieu, bailo a huevo, que vas a Mayo, que vas a and the bedroom below, I want to talk about the people they know. Oh, the thing the pillar, they Samuel the Chambre. Oh, you know, my in our mono. Abaya kono ya mome, no ye isu onu de sound ya yi. They are not the block, no, I'm on the another one. My muso complain of so about the moon, I look bad. See, I have them all. Familia, and now go to where I'm my papa, or do the most you know, dear man. About your dear culture, or just about yeah. I'm a mossini, I'm a known this way, yes, and you. I'm not you are the way I say, I divorce any. I can't go more when you say, yeah. I demonstrate, I don't know, man. I got it to us. I'm okay, I take you. My Good evening. So I want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. I'm Francis Zian to the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. A beautiful Wednesday afternoon here in the East Coast. We want to welcome you to today's editions of All Things Considered. All Things Considered comes away every Wednesday here on the Diaspora Informative News Magazine, Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We say thank you for being here this morning, this evening, afternoon, depending on your location, wherever you are. We say thank you so much. And just do us a favor, just hit the share button and invite someone at your company because we are about to discuss some high call issue. And please, whatever the conversation is, don't get upset with us because we are doing what we're supposed to do. and also understand that we intend not to leave no one behind in this process. But it's always a critical conversation, and that's what we intend to do, because that's set up apart as LPR, Liberia Public Radio, representing to the broader spectrums of the political eye right here in the diaspora and on the official news outlets of the Liberia Public Radio. If this is the first time on this network, we say you are wholeheartedly welcome. By the way, we are also live via Facebook, which of course you are watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, and all major social news outlets. So there are multiple ways for which you can get hold of us to monitor our live stream, like our page, subscribe, and so that you'll be able to get a notification whenever we are on. That's a strategy in this whole thing here. You have to always subscribe and get that notification. So what a crazy weather in the East Coast, AC, fan, whatever you put on, it can't even help the situation. But we'll try to do the best we can to get this conversation going just for the good of our country and our people. Welcome to the show, and we say that big red carpet welcome to our first time viewer, those just pop in into this program here. If this is the first time, just give her a thumbs up. Let we know, let we recognize you. And even if you have been here before, we say we always it's always an honor to have you right here on this network, because it is a network that tells us as it is. We do not really sugarcoat. We have few guys here who always in this sort of addressing here. But the real independent guy always said the point. Welcome to the show. Let's get a ball rolling. Some of the analysts are already here. Let's have a conversation. Welcome to the show. I'm Alfonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Today's edition of All Things Considered right here from the Diaspora Informative News Magazine, Liberia Public Radio. A lot of news developing here. Go right ahead, buddy. Yes, don't worry. A lot of news developing, and we're going to be having this conversation. Of course, we want you to also be part of what is happening right here. So we're going to be having a conversation. Like the Lpr said, I will hit my little tabata here, as he put it, but mine is more or less objective, the independent voice of the people. And this is why he don't like. He get his guy, they get a conspirator here who always try to restructure the news, what intent. But I have a consequential question here this evening, and we'll discuss it. And that's my other talking point. And hopefully you will pick up it. If it makes sense, fine. If it doesn't, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, and that's what we say it. Our voices matter. So we say welcome. I'm trying to look at this here because for the most part, we always call for change. Change. What is change? And the interpretation of change to many people, it varies. You will have your own definition as to how you understand it and how you perceive it to be. And so we're going to be having this conversation here. What is the true meaning of change to us, including you and myself? Or be a revolution. Revolution is just not only to military takeover, they have political revolution as well. But most often we call for this sort of a transition, living from one place to another. And sooner or later, then people begin to say, oh, this is not what we expect. This is not what we anticipated. But what the question they do not ask is, how many of us how many of us critically taking a holistic approach to call for the kind of change that we call for, and what is a guarantee that if this change comes, it will be for the people? Because for so many times, we have called for this change. We'll change this person, we'll change this, we'll change this. How many of us really ask these questions? These people that will trust as our leaders, do we ask the real question that we want to ask? And are they honest with us? What is the determining factors that if we ask these questions and it seems not to answer these questions, are we also bold to tell them, yes, you are not answering my question? I'm not sure how many of us are doing that. And I'm going to look at the information aspect from time to time as to the government of Liberia and all of us in our own daily lives, the importance of sharing information and how to go about to share information in order that it resonates and that people make sense of get what you are saying. But I was flabbergasted. I never had a chance to discuss it, but I took a second thought, listened to the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, who is now a convicted felon, by the way, incarcerated behind prison bar. But I was shocked. I think there is a disappointment in so many fronts. People think, I've taken the thought and I've observed it. People think Ambassador Joseph Newman Boycott, he was a guy that perhaps most of these people think they were going to pull by the nose. But from what I'm gathering and people that I'm talking to, that seems not to be the case. And I can tell you in the coming time, days, week, months, or before this year come to a closure, there's going to be a really big crackdown and people will be surprised how it happens. The Ministry of Information is being very, very horrible. The Ministry of Information is not a propaganda tool. You are the mouthpiece of the government. You interpret the message of the government. You season the message of the government. Now, people say it must be independent. No, that's not an independent. You want to be an independent team? Go organize some sort of savor group, non-partisan. But when you are a minister and when you work for the government, you proxy the affairs of the government. When you speak literally, the President of the Republic of Liberia speaking. And this is where the problem is. Even down to the police. Yes, we scream, we blame, oh, the police spokesman, oh, the immigration spokesman, oh, this person, he's not doing. They are there to protect the government. You will not get it. You will not understand it. And I know where you are coming from. Which government in the world that even when something happened today, the minister will come and say, yeah, the government do this to indict itself. That's not how it happened. Let me bring in one of the Boashins, and I'm going to be playing this horrible, what I call horrible presentation by the Ministry of Information, Republic of Liberia, in a recent scenario. And in my view, in my opinion, I will also suggest what they should have done and what they did was so bad. If I were Joseph Boycott, somebody out of jail a long time. And I know Jerry Bacon and his liberal progressive something to want to make it out of a big issue because they do not have the guts to say it as it is. And that's what makes me the independent voice of the people. That's a new title added. Welcome to the show. Just hit the share button and we will get a program right on the road. Welcome. So let's get it. Okay, good evening, welcome. Let me bring in one of the Boashins on this network, Jerry Bacon Boashins. The name just so much, BBB. JBB, right?
Thank you. Whatever it is.
It's going in his skin because I called Joseph Boycott. He is not he is not only your president, he's the president for me. Even though I might have different political or philosophical difference in governance, but it doesn't mean that he's not my president. He's my president. So this is not something you need to cheer up down to think like when we call Joseph Boycott name, then you are the president. Well, you want to punch me or what?
No, I turned the face. Yes. I'm happy that Joseph Boyka is the president of the Republic of Liberia. I'm very happy. I'm very delighted. I'm overwhelmed.
Why?
You just said change. What is your
change?
question? What is change?
Yeah, we're going to have that. My change, my interpretation of my change could be different from you, could be different from any of the other viewers. So not necessary for us to have an agreement, and we want to see how it plays out. Okay, but this is all things considered. And this question here, I just feel we're going to look at it. I want to look at it upside down in real war, in different war, in different meaning, understanding what is true meaning of change to us, how we perceive it to be, what is our own interpretation. There's nothing guaranteed. Change, it can be anything that somebody say can change. It does not mean it is a change that we will attain. But we're going to have a conversation to that and more to come. Good evening, Mr. Bacon. Welcome to the show.
I'm doing good.
Okay, so today's what, Wednesday or Tuesday?
Today Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
The 19th of the month.
You taking
2024.
Why you taking pay Friday, eh? Or you been eating it already?
I've been eating it already. No, I've been like Labra Center, they can prepay me. The Labra Center, they can prepay them.
That one, let me tell that one though. So you can say, I don't want enough of my health. Okay, so how is it? How everything?
I'm doing good. Just has been hard, but I mean, it's summertime, so I mean, don't need to make noise about it. That's better, it's the season. So
it's not even helping. You put it on, say, like a pumping fire or the heat. It's
yeah. Well, this is the season. What can you do? We gotta by 4 months from now or 3 months from now, we'll be completely cold again. So we just gotta respect nature.
Me, I'm a countryman. I prefer like that, even though we've created myself for beer. Okay, this is all things considered. So welcome to the show. And I have some other stuff I want to talk about here today, which is, of course, I'm talking about the change / maybe going to add a revolution, whether it has been successful in our country, how we perceive it to be. Because I listen to other people, you say, oh, I'm disappointed. I did not expect it. This is not what we wanted. This is not the kind of change. But they have never had the guts to ask, even when Jared Bacon Bush and say he's bringing change, we just hear the word and we flow with it. We don't ask how that change is coming, how you intend to sustain that change. What kind of change is it? Is it change for the worse, change for the good? But the connotation, the word itself change, gives people a hope that something new is coming. That it is not necessarily it will happen. So we're going to dive into it. I'm not going to be like the liberal who sees people say, well, what is? And you are helped to conspire against with him on this network, which we are fighting so hard for you guys, you and your liberal progressive, not to cease because you want to hijack this network. And by virtue of the nomenclature of this network, Liberia Public Radio, it means no voice should be left behind in the national conversation. So you don't hear me saying I get Chinese phone. If you don't know how to talk, the phone will go off. Am I correct?
I never heard it before.
You never heard that from Liberal, from your friend?
Oh, okay. You just informed me about it. So I get him feedback, so okay, that's good. It better now.
This guy, you guys are determined not to change, but we will not give up. Okay, let me come to you. Today is Wednesday. All things considered. What is on your plate?
Let me acknowledge Rookable, Esther, and Sky FM TV.
Leave Esther alone. Esther
Oh
is
no! I mean, she's there. She said, good evening. So I want to acknowledge her. She want our supporter. She want our strong supporter. Each time she come on the show, so at least let me give her her flower while she stay alive. I see Breakable here. I see Sky FM TV. So at least let me acknowledge it. Well, it's a change.
You don't have to go with me. I don't want you to.
No. I mean, it's nothing. I know it's something you brought up.
He restricted my movement today.
No, I know. I don't want to. It's something to change.
Okay, so let's look at this word here: change, revolution. Change, we can put it in the context more or less in the civil side and even the revolution. Typical when post revolution, the first mindset of people is like a coup or that has to do with military or paramilitary action. But revolution can be in the civilian context as well, in our own real war of changing. But just these words, there's some sort of difference in terms of where is most suited or applicable. But I'm not going to restrict you. I'm going to give you a freedom here at this event. Unlike you guys, when we're on your program, your co-host, and you allow your laborer to do whatever he wants to do, and you think you can just have your way. We're not going to do that. You will show your bad side of the story here. And again, once more, I will be vindicated. Now you have sent a text, and he's here, which is okay. So what? Let's hear you. Well, so let me bring him in here. Yeah, you sent him a text, so he's here.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Gary. Thank you very much, Mr. Sol. Good evening.
Oh, he saw, and you didn't call me sir. Who conducting this training?
Well, many are called, few are chosen.
Jerry Bacon, you are a mess. Now I know. Go ahead.
But anyway, the question you posed to us is very hypothetical, and let's try to give it a crack this evening. Well, before I get to it, let me look at our legislature and senators, the upper house and the lower house. There are a lot of things that are going on right now in the news. They went to Buchanan for the retreat. Money was given, and the accountability of the money is not transparent to the Liberian people. The senator from Babalu, Amman Collins, said he gave me some of the money back, and stuff like that. So there are a lot of things. The question I need to ask our constituents, or especially the Liberian people, we elected the people to represent us because we all cannot go there in keeping with our constitution, which is democracy, that one man, one vote. And these people, they are enriching themselves. Just think, one person is getting $15,000 a month. $15,000 a month in Liberia, whereby the civil servant getting between, let me be consecutive here today, $200 a month.
You want to be what?
$200 a month. And they had it to pay. And they get about 10,000 or 15,000. They got it allowance to go to their constituent. 5,000 or 6,000 a month or once a month. And some of them complain that they can't go to their constituent because the road is bad or because they open the office in the place there. If you can't go to your constituent, which the money have been given you for that intended purpose, and you pocket that money, from my perspective, it's receiving money on a false pretense. Because you were deputized to perform the duty.
It sounds to he on your phone. He calling your man there. Wow, this is unbelievable. The liberals are here. They are coming.
You were sent to give
They can't even help you. Go ahead. Sorry.
So these are some of the things. Intertwined with change. Change not always be positive. Change sometimes come in a negative form, or sometimes come in a positive form. and people who we give responsibility to. Let's look at Michael Gavin.
Okay, let's do it pieces by pieces now.
All right, I'll pause.
Yeah, pause a little bit. Yeah, I'm not like the liberal, so despite of my philosophical differences with you, three of you, especially the you and the liberal, Terry is still an undecided guy. We're still tussling over him, but he too is like every time we leave the program, then he's in conversation with the liberal. So I'm not going to rely on him that much. That's okay.
I don't talk liberal at all. So.
Progressive, good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Soul. Good evening, Jerry. Mr.
Good
Jerry,
evening,
thank you. I hope we have a wonderful show.
Mr. Collins, good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening to the panel, Papto and Honorable Jerry, security analyst, and the chief himself, the chief operator.
No, it's not chief. I want to. Can you see the title? Ordained by
independent voice.
Read it in context. Don't wait.
Okay, security, senior security analyst.
Oh, I'm not talking about Jerry Bacon.
You're talking about you, right? Oh yeah, the independent voice of the people. Wow.
Establish.
You know, that's why I say Labour won't make you president, but you don't. You keep rejecting. You keep reneging. They never want to make you president.
I will tell you, I think to be president of the Republic of Liberia, the Liberal cannot work. Jerry Bacon cannot work with me.
Oh no. What?
Oh, you need me.
The security analyst?
You need me.
You need the man. You need the role technician. You know, you want to tell me say you will not have liberal on the team?
Let's take
to public works.
Let's take a quick announcement.
They your government fail.
I want to interrupt this interlude of music to bring you this obituary announcement from our obituary photo of the Liberia Public Radio. Homegoing celebrations of the late Sam G. Brown will be held this weekend, June 21st, 2024, in the Ocean State of Rhode Island. Wakekeeping is 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Woodland Baptist Church, 337 Lonsdale Ave, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Funeral rites on Saturday, June 22nd, 2024 at 10 a.m. at Woodland Baptist Church, 337 Lonsdale Avenue, Pawtucket, to be followed by interment at Swamp Point Cemetery, 585 Blackstone Boulevard. Repairs will be followed at 70th Jefferson Boulevard in Providence, Capitol Hill. All homegoing celebrations events will be live on the official news outlet of the Liberia Public Radio, Lpr-Tv official Facebook page. This announcement was brought into LPR by Priscilla Balut Brown, widow of the deceased, Rebecca Den Yensua, Maput T. Macaulay, Sam Butch Brown.
Okay, let's see here quickly here. Okay, let's see here quickly. Okay, that's a quick obituary there for our man, the late Sam Brown, here in the Ocean State of Rhode Island, will be laid to rest this weekend. And Liberia Public Radio will be covering the homegoing ceremonies of comrade Sam Brown. Sam Brown is a good friend. He passed a couple of weeks ago, and he will be laid to rest here in the Ocean State of Rhode Island, right here. And so watch out this event if you're a friend, just in case you can make you will not be able to make it here. There's a way that you can also see it. Okay, guys, let's get to the program. Let me go to the next one. Yeah, that you're a young guy, smart guy as well. But it is what it is. We all go through this sort of transition, except that we don't know why it's going to be there. And even one prominent leader from our community also passed away. But this time it's in Liberia. Very sad. In fact, LPR to cover her honoring a birthday ceremony. The family they have arranged with us. When I arrived last week, Saturday, this coming Friday, I think this coming Friday she will be in her 1 week. Some family people in transit heading to Liberia and wanted to know that she passed away this morning. Wow. So we are in a very, very sad world. Prominent, the late former managing director of the Liberian Petroleum Refining Company, Mr. Philip Davis, wife, know her very personally well. Went to do her final shoppings. Family sources telling us yesterday down Water Street, went home last night. Started feeling tired, fatigue, profuse, sweating, and only to get her out before they could get to a nearby hospitals, and that was the end of it. People are in transit from Europe, children, Americas. It was going for such a honoring. This is it reminds me about this guy, the late Professor Sangawolo. Nobody knows when he will die.
Right.
Yeah, we just don't know. Life itself that we live, it's a risk. So I don't know why people will say, "Oh, yeah, if I do that, I'm taking risk." The life you live is a risk because nothing is guaranteed. Nothing. You just know the moment when that breath is in you. In the next second, you just don't know what happens. So our prayers and thought goes out to the Davis family, both here in the USA and Liberia. Okay, guys, let's come to the conversation. The liberals, what is on your plate? But should I do this here this evening, or what should I do? I'm not going to give these guys a chance to do something. But there's a consequential question that I ask, and we're going to discuss that. What is the true meaning of change to us? I just say us, all of us. Your interpretation will be different. Mine is different. The liberal is different. Now, the program has come to an equilibrium.
I hope Dr. Mali has not come yet. I hope he is not here yet.
He's coming to muddy the water. There's no fruitful discussion coming after that. He's
going
to muddy the water. You're not going to get something central out of this conversation anymore. We're done.
There's a new regulations. No interruptions when you're calling, when your fellow analysts, because I receive multiple messages from our followers, and they want to protest against the liberal and Jerry Bacon.
Who, Breakable?
I said from our followers. They are planning to boycott. They are planning to boycott this network because of Samson Toll and Jerry Bacon way of doing things. So we are putting in new orders. You remember when PRC came, they said decree regulations, our policy. There's not decree, but no interruption. When the moderator is in charge, he is in charge of the board. Take note. But let's make the program more fair, balanced, and at equilibrium to where the voices of the people should be heard. Let me bring in my colleague, my friend, guy on the same wagon. We eat together. We hit the airways going to San Diego.
Just make sure you balance and allow everybody the same time to speak and express themselves freely. Don't come be don't come be I don't call it one-sided like Fox News interview, Fox News personality. That's not what this is. I'm just telling you, because right now I'm sleeping. If you and Mali want to come and stop with your tabata, my bed is open, I'll just go to sleep.
These are some of the problems we have in the country. When policymakers are making laws, you have other people there to defy it and say they will have their own way. But folks, let me bring in Dr. Miles Jones, Octavius Miles Jones, one of the independent, objective, fair balance on this network. Dr. Jones, good evening. Welcome.
New background. He on freedom. He got different background. Then when he on my show, then he come out with freedom watch.
Okay, Dr. Jones, good evening. Welcome.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, fellow panelists.
Right.
Good evening, Mr. Parker, co-host. Mr. Collins, missed you guys last night. But anyway, the dinner table was set for two participants.
Yeah, I watched some of the softball you threw, but it was okay. You know.
I didn't receive the ostracizing last night. I asked if there was anything, and nobody gave me the link, so that's fine. I understand.
Oh, that your mail. You understand?
Sorry.
Yeah, baby, but but I don't
how dangerous you co-hosted the man even you co-host.
I know.
So,
Mr. Parker,
but Mr. Parker, you said you're traveling to Liberia now. You gave labor. You're not doing well. You say you're going back home, and labor asks you how long you're gonna be there.
I said I'll go back home. I'm saying I'm going down. I said I will go home one day.
Yeah, but you put her in jeopardy, so I don't know.
No, I said I'll go home. I'm saying I was leaving. If I was leaving the same way when I was going to what the plane in Seattle last time, I said I'm going for my grandson graduation. I'm going to Washington.
Yeah.
So if such an opportunity is given me, the first place I will make the announcement is right on the radio station, on the TV station. I say I have gotten something in Liberia. It's all confirmed. Before I do, I will call every one of your privately first before I come on public radio to say.
No, I'm just kidding, man. You know,
I'm not going to ambush you like the Dr. Jones.
For my battle, they will make a money and say, tomorrow you will not send that link again. Okay, guys. Welcome to the show. Okay, Dr. Jones, I asked this question here. It doesn't mean that we all must go with it, but I have my own version, my own interpretation. What is the true meaning of change to us as a people, as individual, as a country, whether in the political change or military change? These changes that we have been calling for has still worked in the past and in the present. And this question,
point of observation, please, if you don't mind.
Deny.
Is it possible that you change the background of this set because it's turning my eye?
There you go. Okay. You know, we say we always allow the people. You not our email, you let it our thing here. So with due respect, I will do it. Let me go to this here. Is this what we'll do it? So don't file any motion again. We're not in court.
That's now Grandida River.
You're not from Grand Gide, so don't worry about that. Okay. Okay, Terry.
Yeah, so change is a word that is very, very simple, but I think it have a lot of connections on the basis of how you perceive it to be and all of the above. But given the fact that we're talking about change in regards to our political landscape of Liberia, we have changed, but our change is in different dimensions. Liberians are not the way we used to be before. Like I said the last time, that Liberians are evolving. We are not, the mentality of people are progressing based upon the level of the technological age and all of that. So even though our infrastructure are not changing, our infrastructure diagram has not changed, but the mindset of the people are changing based upon the level of development in the world, globalization of internet technology and all of that. People are changing. People are changing the mindset, the way they see things and all of that. So change is relative on the basis of how people will look at it. But Liberia, to catch up with the world, when it comes to infrastructural development, when it comes to, living how people are supposed to live, that comes along with productivity. It comes along with the economy. It comes along with the ability for people's lives to improve. So when people lifestyle improve, they will adapt to a certain living standard. But I do not think that the living standard of a person should be looked at, the way people live should be determined that they have changed. That could also be, but I think that the greatest place that change takes place is in the mindset. And for the fact that Liberian can progress to now voting for the leaders and selecting the leaders by the ballot, as compared to, fighting and going to take guns and war and killing your leader. As we now have 3 presidents that are alive that we can bodily see, physically go and visit in our country, which means Liberians are changing, or Liberians are evolving into the process of change from the come to the psyche and the mindset. The only thing we need now in our society is a better economy.
All right, I'm going to hold you there. And like I said, we'll be very respectful to our audience because the reason they are here, part of that is to engage or visualize. They will be tweeting, they will be writing. So we will try as much as possible so not to be interrupted. The only person that has the ability to do here is the chief moderator, because if you say something and if it doesn't meet the needs of the people, I will know. And I will stop you. And then you have the right to explain, because we want answers. We don't just want to talk to him, but we want answers. Okay, but you don't have to go with this. You don't have to go with today. It's Wednesday. But there's a reason I brought this, because I listen to politicians, I listen to their supporter. Oh, then I what we voted for. We not expect. I didn't know they never going to do that. This. So I'm asking whether there's anything like a guarantor that even if people told you, say there's a change in rule change coming, whether it's a guarantee that it will happen. The liberal progressive.
Okay.
Thank you. So for me, sometimes you will come out and say you're not a soothsayer, but tonight you're telling us that based on our comment, you will then become a soothsayer between us and the audience, and you will know whether the audience appreciate what we're saying. And if you think the audience don't appreciate, you will interject. That's good. I didn't know you bring me medicine, man. Now, we'll move on. Let's continue with it. But no, change, Mr. So Liberians are not stranger to changes or change per se. Sometimes we'll go at the deep end with no good result. Sometimes we'll do it peacefully and also no good result. Over the time, all the time, the history that we know, most Liberians have always cried for changes. However, when the opportunity comes for a change that should benefit all of us, we squander the opportunity, in my opinion, and expect the change itself to help us, whereas we should have used the opportunity of changes that we ourselves brought about to straighten things up. But most often, when the opportunity is there, the changes come, Liberians accept. However, those who are being asked by Liberian to lead the changes revolution, if you want to call it that, they always are not in a position to be straightforward with the Liberian people. They are not in a position to give the true meaning of the changes that Liberians have in mind. And as a result, we found ourselves coming back and crying for the same changes. I'll give you an example. Back in the 50s, when Tubman became president, they brought in another detour guy, came up, he wanted to be president, and Tubman said, this is not the kinds of change that you're hoping for, because this is not even a real crewman anyway. It's a Ghana crewman. And the Liberians then decided, no, they don't want that kinds of change. Fast forward, Tubman came in. Tubman came with his so-called changes in mind, not quite, but he was willing to sacrifice a little bit, and his own folks were resisting. In fact, his own brother resisted that call. Though and his people came in, brought changes that came with a lot of blood spilled all over the country. And at first, people gravitated towards those changes. People were receptive to those changes. And then Doe and his people decided to misuse the opportunity and turn those changes opportunity around against their own people. And then Taylor and his group came, and they were going to be bringing the change that will last forever. We know how that change turned out to be. And here we are. The one man, one vote that we, the foot soldier of the progressive, fought for. We have that. However, now that the one man, one vote that has been established, the politician now that's supposed to make sure these particular processes carry out effectively are now themselves corrupt.
Okay.
Liberians are looking at it and saying, this is not the kind of change we want. This is not the kind of change we voted for. And now they're claiming to redo it for a real change. So change is something strange to the Liberians. We always fight for it. We always want a change. But those who are responsible to implement the policy, changes policy, are in fact themselves are not the true agent of the change process.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And like I said, we're going to put it, you know, sometimes we need to have these critical conversations. And people count on us now that we know it all, but the fight of the matter that we unveil ourselves to be talking national issues, we must try to tap into different scenarios. Okay. I heard some of the liberal side of the change to try to give you an interpretation. I started it the other day, and the liberal was crumbling over me. Now, I mean, go to the independent side, where more or less it will be the reflections of today's reality in the world, not just only Liberia. And the best person to put that into context is Dr. Jones Octavius Malley. Dr. Malley.
Yes, sir.
I brought in this here that we're going to talk to something because when I used the word revolution the other day, the interpretation seems to be different. People see it like a coup, but not it. But sometimes those who bring the change tend to be the victim of the change itself, and then the turn around, they are being victimized. But let's just tap into your expertise here. Change. This change here from time to time has still worked in our country. Is there any guarantee that you can put your lifeline, you can put your life on the line for a politician, for an advocate, for a radio host, someone who tend to promulgate the message, profess to talk for the people? Is there any guarantee that will happen?
Well, there's a saying that beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. In Africa, change starts with the head. What the head feeds, it is his agenda, is what trickle down. It doesn't start from the bottom up. But let me just give you a quote. When His Excellency was running in the election, he had an interview in Nigeria with the Nigerian Morning Nigeria News. And he said, even though I am in a race to win, but Liberians themselves are yearning for change. That was a statement of His Excellency Joseph Baka when he was running. He went to Nigeria, had an interview. He said, even though he was in a race to win, but the Liberians themselves were yearning for change. So the question now is, what was that change? Was it a change, just a change face in the executive mansion? Just for another gentleman to enter in the executive mansion? Or just a gentleman to wear pants, wear a shirt in the executive mansion? But to me, I strongly believe that from a layman understanding, change should be something that will have impact in your life. Something that you can point at. Something that you can touch. Something that years from now you can point at and say, oh, this was the change I left behind. So the change His Excellency talk about, that the Liberians themselves were yearning for change, was it only to replace His Excellency former President Weah? That is the question. So it been 6 months now. I want to give credit to His Excellency. He's still struggling to structure a few things. He still try to position his government. But if we want to talk about change, we may want to see it in some of his blueprint. What are his plans? He brought a national agenda called arrest, which of course every government come to play. They bring that slogan. Every government in life bring that slogan. Whether they follow it is a different thing. But my question now, I'm stuck, because it is from the blueprint we can suggest, oh yes, His Excellency will be taking the country in this direction. But I have seen no blueprint. I have seen no plan of action. And so I think change now a trap somewhere. Okay. So I don't know what direction we're moving right now, but we have succeeded on one segment. That is to remove His Excellency former President Weah. Then the next thing now, what next?
Okay. So what a good conversation, and we're going to be having more of this. Let me go to Mr. Bacon. I am taking a holistic approach of this sort of change to what we want. And if we can, we as a people, as a country, and even media institutions, practitioners, political pundits, what are we asking? Tough questions. What is our own role in making these changes to come? And are we also aware, in order for change to be sustained, those who bring the change or changes, some of them must be inflicted down the road. Some of them must also be ostracized, or some of them must also be get out of the system, because when that change comes, in order for it to be sustained, you need a group of new loyalists. That's my view. And we're going to cite the example why I'm saying what I'm saying. But let me go to Mr. Jerry Barkons. Jerry Barkons, you listen to your colleagues. You have an exception to any of them, what to say, or what do you think left over that you want to add a little piece on it?
Well, I mean, we're talking about change. I don't want to be a antagonistic on the issue. But however, you see, about 15 minutes ago, you stated that there's a change on the show, that the audience, the feedback that you are getting, that we interrupt Mr. Toa and myself, we interrupt. So
don't be gotta be like just Ambassador President Joseph Boyka, who can contain people. You can hear Prince Johnson talking again. You hear him preaching a few days, right?
Come here. See, you're the same person who making a change and you interrupting me. So you see, so you're not practicing what you're preaching.
Oh my goodness. Go ahead.
So that's a change, because based upon the data that you have, that Mr. Toa and myself, we have been labeled, that we interrupt when you are talking. So he brought a change. He said from here after, the PRC have a degree, and for now, anybody who talk, you have the gavel. So I said, okay, that's a change right here. You just brought a change. We will revolutionize our talking point. But however, having said that, look, change is painful. Change come in a different form, and change is something that we cannot put and say, this is it. Let's take, for example, let's look at red light. that I put her in the middle of the street. There's a change. When you were going first, you used to go straight. Now they put a red light there to regulate your movement and say you cannot just go on the speed. On our highway here, there's a change. They put 65 miles per hour, 25 miles per hour in the school zone. So these are all changes. They come with pain. So change does not mean that it will always be positive, but it's the impact that it makes on society that's important. Let me make two references. Look at Martin Luther King. Okay, he brought about change, civil rights. People were beaten, people were killed, and there were rebellion within his own camp. That this is not going to work, and some people say this is going to work. Look where we are today, after almost 30 or 40 or almost what 70 some more years now. Now we are enjoying the fruit. Let's look at Jesus Christ. When he came, he brought a change. He said, change is coming. My father is this, my father is that. And people rebelled against him. Today, where Christianity is all over the world. Look at the Romans. There were those who rebelled against him. They don't want Christianity. Well, where we are. So change, it got a positive part, it got a negative something. So what I'm concluding here is Liberia, we are yearning for change. But the change here is the change also comes with leadership. What is the message that you are giving the people? What is the direction you want the people to go to? It's not just to come and say, oh, we're going to bring 10 bags of red for $5. Yes. But the direction is live with the leadership. So that's why I just want to give you, let me put one controversial person in there. Malcolm X. Well, Malcolm X said everybody should go back to Africa so that we'll be able to have African pound Africa. And the West were against it. But I think these are the changes. So I just want to lay on that. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So, there is a root cause of this conversation tonight. And I feel all of us directly, indirectly, facilitate or radio personalities, we all drive, give the guarantee to the general public because I sit here, I say it, and I think I have a control over the audience and they are moving with that. Believe me, if I'm in it, it means it is good. I'm just saying that's far from reality. Change it can never be guaranteed by anybody, not even on who championed the cause of a change. And the liberal said that, and I talked that yesterday. So it's not guaranteed. And in order for change to be sustained, those who lead the marathon of that change, some of them have to lead by the wayside. And I will come back in the 80s because the labor measure it, and I will talk about it later the last time. There was this Samuel Doe, revolution came, right? And one of the core message of that rampant corruption. So group of enlisted men that they put together, whether they were there to other people orchestrated, they brought in change. And there was a rhythm to that change. Countrymen, countrywomen, born soldier. And we all danced. And some of the very progressive, the liberal talking about here, they were all part of that. They embraced that change. But what they didn't ask as to whether that change was going to be sustained. Because in order for change to be sustained, some of those who even led that change, they must be inflicted, they must be pushed by the wayside because the leader would need a new loyalty. If you look at the book of Mama Gaddafi, the Green Book, you look at the case of Sierra Leone, Valentin Stressors, Amada Bio. What happened after the April 12 coup? All of the people, not all of them, most of the principal players in less than a year. What we saw happening, things were falling apart. They were the people that brought a change. But guess what? Something kicks in. And this guy, the leader now, needed a new code of people to be, because The other all here when we go and go. I mean, and that's just the reality. That's my own view. People starting together, you can't end it. Because you will want to get a new loyalist commitment, and that's what it's all about. So we saw what happened. The late Major General Thomas Wesson, the Harry Johnson, and all the other people. Some of them, they were not even about what happened. The same people who led the change, they decided to get rid of it. So I'm just saying we call for change without us getting an idea how risky it even becomes. And we do not have this lengthy conversation. Radio hosts, all of us, we put our lifeline on the line to say this one. And you have the light of the liberal progressive come out here. I support this candidate. I bet myself. When we should have been in the role, in the middle, to create a critical conversation, ask all of the tough questions, so that the general public will be able to get a concise idea. But the liberal and Bacon and many others on the network, they are contaminated. They are compromised. They took a side. So what is the guarantee that they can say anything? I'm just being frank. So we all have to say we are driving this change. So when the change even comes, then we get so through now, we can't come back to say how whether that change will brought on the people, whether it's a good change, it's not a good change. See what is happening. Let be of a recent history, and I'll pass it on to you. What happened lately? The group said the coalition, right? CPP or whatever. What the name of the group again, Terry? The Banana UK, the Ellis Kuhn.
Yeah, CPP.
Joseph Whitehead. What I said? The essence of that group was to what? To change, to move George Weah. But do you believe, was there any contingency plan? Was there any strategy besides we move him? But if we move him, is there any plan how to sustain that group we're putting together? They didn't, in my own view. It was almost like a coalition government that they were doing, which is okay. But guess what? They did not define their role. That's the danger it becomes if you put together, we want to do something. If I don't tell you what I want, you don't tell me what I want when we get there, it breaks apart.
So you're talking about it. You're talking about the substance of change now. Then, because then we are going more like deeper.
But that's the essence of it. This is why we must be careful when people say they are when the politician tells you, "Oh, we got to change this." It's just not saying it on the surface. We have to ask these critical questions. And I strongly believe we have never, and we allow these politicians to slip by. And then sooner or later, we say we are surprised. I don't expect Mr. This to be this. I don't expect Dara Dillon to take this. I don't expect this one to take this. I'm just taking a broader, I'm just calling it me. It doesn't mean that he's doing it. But you have said once upon a time, even myself and all of us, and even the very listener, I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this from this guy here, this person here. It's because we wanted something, because we were in desperation at that time, and we never had a thought. There was no extra planning. We didn't have that contingency plan, even though we want to move it. Okay, when we move it, what happened next? How do we maintain this? I don't think this conversation was held. This other United Party candidate who won, what his name said, Prince, whatever, something.
Prince too.
Yeah. But again, all of these things is with the media because we are not also doing our due diligence. We hear it and we become reactionary and we inflame it, we say it, and we persuade people. Because when we say it, we persuade people. So, are these changes, are they help based on all what we have talked about? Are they help in the past and in the present? And if not, how can we sustain this change? How can it be sustained? Is there any way? Let me start with you.
Who, me?
Yeah. You can.
Oh,
you take
yeah. the change can only be sustained by a visionary. Vision. You got to have a vision. And secondly, you got to be honest to the vision that you have. You cannot use the people's desire or the will of the people, to bring change. You can say because the people don't like this government or the people want this thing to happen. So because they're desperate for this thing, you ride on the desperation and pretend to them that you're going to bring change when you know within yourself you don't have a vision to bring change. That's the same thing happened with the CDC-led government. President Weakin will change. All right, the Democratic, what were them? The CDC, yeah, the Coalition for Change, for Democratic Change. That was the acronym. So that was the nomenclature. They came and they sold that idea to the Liberian people on the foundation of desperation. Those who organized the CDC were using President Weah's popularity to ride on that to bring him to power. They were not looking at whether if the man was capable to bring the change. So politicians have a way of using people to accomplish their aim and their objectives for their own selfish gain. And in that way, you will never accomplish anything. In the life of President Boka, he pleaded his case on the President Boka, we must also understand, became popular on the foundation of the failure of CDC, failure to deliver the change they promised that they would deliver. What made the poor agenda difficult for President Weah to accomplish was because that was not his idea. It was written by somebody else. It was not something that he had, that he himself wanted to do. So he could not accomplish it. And if you bring him back, again, it will be the same because he do not have any vision to propel the change, like you talk about, to sustain the change. Because change comes with challenges and change happen in different forms.
But okay, quickly here.
Okay.
Quickly here. And I made a point here before I move to the next one. In order to sustain a change, those who led the marathon of the change, do you also believe that at the end of it, some of them can be the victim of the change as well?
Certainly, change comes with challenges, Mr. So those who, you see, the problem is not about the change itself. The problem is those who driving the change. That is the problem. So, like we're in the inside of Africa and Liberia, the problem is not with the change itself. The problem is with those who driving the change. So the change of leadership does not mean that something has changed.
When you say those, who are you making reference to before I go to the liberals?
The people who are carrying the narrative, that are carrying a specific candidate, propelling them and giving them hope that this person, giving the people hope, the people who you're talking about now that become victim of the change itself, they gave other people hope in a person that this person can bring the change when they themselves do not even know that this particular person they are propelling to the level that they want them to be to have the ability to bring the change. So you have to understand whether if this person I'm behind, this person I'm pushing, this person I running with, you must understand first whether if they have the capacity to bring the change that you yourself is pushing them to, or you only pushing them because you found out that this person is more popular. And that is the narrative that in Africa, especially Liberia, we look for the most popular candidate to bring the change without understanding whether if the person have the capacity to bring the change.
Okay, I'm speaking because let me come to the liberal here. Perhaps I will see what his approach, and I'm going to take a much tougher stand because I know he's not going to back down. Liberal, you listen to Cherry. Let's change. I said manifest itself to what we want to see, and I will be very specific. And if not, does that mean the change is compromised? You're one of those here who, and I'll call you out, and I think you have the courage to admit to what you do, what you say here, because those recordings are there. You praise Molu. They'll be like, Amalu, this would be this way. That would be this way. Yeah, we are. He one of those that led the Maritimes of the change of President Joseph Boyka to be who he is today, raised tons of dollars, which is okay. As far as we are concerned, he's out of the system. Is that change compromise?
Thank you, Mr. So. Before I approach that, you made a few statements earlier, and I just want to expand on those because, like I said, not only do we come on this platform to talk, but we do have some major history as according ourselves a witness to major history of Republic of Liberia. I think I come out here most of the time. I talk about the rice riot, how I was at the rice riot from the beginning, 1980 coup. Even though I did not participate, but I can consider myself fully involved. And let me just say this here. A revolution or anything else that have to do with change, most of the folks that are involved do not expect to achieve the final goal of the revolution or the change that they expect. Let me read this here to you, then I'll say. And there's a tribute that I paid to Marcus Dunn. I paid one to Marcus Matthew before. But what I wrote about Marcus Dunn, and this is just one thing here. I said, sadly for us, when the offenses effect to liberate the suffering and the oppressed was about to become a reality, those who showed a high degree of responsibility for the struggles of the liberation were denied the opportunity to lead and fully implement the message. Most of the time, people are left behind. About 2 or 3 days before the coup, my brother, who was fully involved in the coup, came and explained to me, a week before he explained the process of the coup. About 2 or 3 days before they went on the whatever they did for the coup, he explained to me, and I asked him, there's only 2 of us here, beside my sister. Mom and dad are up in Total. What if something happened to you? What do I do? You brought all these people from Total living with you. At that time, he has about 11 or 12 people living with you in the barracks. So what do I do? And he looked at me and said, if anything were to happen to me, I think you have the ability to take care of people. But we have to sacrifice ourselves. True story. If I die so that men like you will not suffer tomorrow. We've cried for this one man, one vote. Look what's happening with Bacchus there in jail. Is that what we're going to sit down here for? So I will fully participate. And if we're successful, we will be successful to liberate.
That was Nelson Toll.
That was Nelson Toll. Now, Mr. So, the change itself is not a bad thing, as Terry correctly stated. Those who are asked to lead the process are themselves not sincere. Most of the time. And yesterday I was on here for over an hour speaking about 3 different groups that will utilize your platform, come to you pretending to be the agent of change. And when they get to that position, they will try to implement what is in their interest. And this is what the problem was with Liberia. When Doe and Dan came in, having had that massive execution of people of corrupt behavior, this was a split up between Watson, Nelson, and look what Harry Johnson was when they accused him of coup. He was at the border of Ivory Coast. Yes. He could have just gone across. I'm not saying drive. I said walk across the bridge.
Right. They told him that the people in my own town, and we gotta be honest, because the reason we are having this sort of conversation here, it is important that people know. They're asking. My time is right to the border. Just literally walk and go. The villagers, the tour in the town, go to Ivory Coast. And what he said? He said no. I didn't do anything. He had just
didn't do anything.
So why am I
going to be afraid?
You people would be in trouble. So I am not
exactly. He said when I go across and these people come to look for me, they will come for you guys. I'm going back to Monrovia. And where was Nelson and Wessel at that time? That Sunday morning, Wessel was in Buchanan. Nelson had gone to practice. So, Mr. So I'm not going to relitigate this issue. They're long gone. We're all done with it. We're moving on. But in turn for change, there are people who have sacrificed their lives, and many more to come, because Liberia is still not ready, quite there yet. We will get there. And many young Liberians will die. And many young Liberians will suffer. Many young Liberians will find themselves in exile to talk for the people of Liberia. Because those who are asked to lead the change, once they get in that position, they consider anyone else who criticize their behavior of not carrying out the mandate of the changing as enemy of the state.
Right.
Mr. So, change itself is not nothing to say is bad. We're just going to have to accept that from time to time, those who are going to lead us in this process are themselves not genuine, and we'll continue to find changes. The good thing about Liberia now is that we're not going to come to the election process through the battle of gun anymore. We're not going to go fight. We're going to go through the ballot boxes. And people who look how much trouble the senators are facing right now. They're in big mess.
Right.
And Liberians are not going to forget it. Liberia is not like what it was before. President Weah told us, and I have the audio here. I said it yesterday, where he told us that, look, when I came to run for the presidency in 2017, I have not done anything for the Liberian people. I didn't do anything except to play football. They elected me. Now that I have built parks, I built roads, I built infrastructure stuff here in this country, I will be re-elected because the people know now what he can do. Forgetting to know what he has done, meaning Liberians are turning against him. Liberia is changing, Mr. Saul. Change is good, but we have to find people to lead it.
All right. So let me bring in the independent minds. You gave most of the liberal side of it. You didn't touch on specific question that I asked, and I think Terry too brushed around it. And I know your guy Jerry Bacon going to follow suit. So on the mic, Dr. Malik Jones here. Dr. Jones,
Mr. Bacon will put it in context.
No, he's going to put it. He's going to put it down the page. But on a serious note, what I was talking about here too, yes, the change has come, but how do we sustain this change? And then what happens? People who we saw, people who were the giants, the Goliaths, the strength of the change. And when the change is affected, why these people, some of these people were alienated into the process, why these people were left out. Then we need to take a back. Wait a minute. Terry was the face of this campaign. So it's not just military change, political change, advocacy. We saw your own son, Henry Costa. What happened? At the end of it, at the end of this marathon, we saw what happened to him. And I can tell you, with Martin Colley, who also fought, now the change has flipped around. Because in order to sustain that change, those who are enjoying the change now, they need new loyalists because they are now no longer in alignment with what that change was talking about. Dr. Jones, it's true. In order to sustain your change, some of those people who lead the fight of the change, we got to get them out. They can't be part of it because they know too much of it and they will be headed for us. So we bring new loyalists, we bring new people. We saw it happens every day. We see those things happen. Like the liberals said, the progressive, Deacon Callahan, those were the people that they were in jail. What happened at the end of the day? The Backer Matthews, he spent less than a year and he was fired. I mean, it has happened over and over. Dr. Jones, is this change to you? Is it a guaranteed process? Should people be surprised if something that happened?
Well, in the first place, change is relative. What the first lens we call change is something else in another lens. But let me just go back to let me retrack back to Mr. Collins's change when he brought in the CDC as a case study. Yeah, the CDC said a whole bunch of things. I agree with you. And the purpose of the campaign ended that whole thing. And His Excellency Joseph Barker said, well, this was a fiasco. This wasn't a change. Automatically, His Excellency kicked in his own change that brought us this far. So the problem here is this. If the reason for which you're removing me is being repeated, that is not a change. That is not a change at all. That is a delayed title, or you want to achieve your own ambition. Let's get back to 1980. There was a coup. Group of men decided to change the face of the government on ground of rampant corruption and marginalization of other things. And what happened? We experienced rampant corruption from the very people who said they brought change. So the whole thing they fought against, they begin to repeat it. So I can consider that as a change. Change is fighting against something and you stand your ground to improve that thing rather than repeating it. So if I go back to Lpr, Joseph Barker kicked in to remove former President Weah with the hope that they're going to rescue the Liberian people. That means there's a change coming. So has the UP bring about the change now since 6 months now? Are they repeating the same thing that we saw in the last government? And if the answer is yes, then there is no change. Then that means the group that decided to take over from President Weah just wanted to replace another gentleman and probably consolidate their ambition for power. But if they're repeating the same thing, I can see in Liberia, the high cost of living is still up. It happened for which the change came about. People are still dying. Up to now, serial killer, we cannot arrest them. It happened for which I think the change came about. Okay, the people expectations are high. Nothing is happening for which Joseph Barker change came about. So the question now is, the team, Joseph Barker team, remove one set and decide to kick in their own change. Has that change been realized? But one important question Collins brought, I mean the Lpr brought, not the Lpr, the CEO brought, change is also based on the changing circumstances. You will choose to do A, a different thing will happen. It will undermine your ability to enforce A. So change is also based on the changing circumstances in the environment, in the economy, in the politics that will decide the fate. Example, we are still struggling to feed ourselves. We still can't feed ourselves. So one of the changes in there is like we will move into mass production and engage into mechanized farming. But what's happening now? We have gone back to sustainable farming. You see? So it's a change in there. The answer is no. Because why? Changing conditions are changing a whole lot of things based on how we thought things were supposed to go. So the prevailing condition is not giving a healthy response to the change Mr. Barker said he wanted to bring. For instance, he brought team on board to help him. Okay? Now the team is having a lot of missteps. This will affect the change Joseph Barker hoped to bring. Why? Because there are prevailing circumstances affecting these very guys that they brought. Some of them are very poor. They come into hard position for the first time, and they need to line up their pocket so that they live a better life. Is that affecting the change? Of course, yes. Is that a circumstance? Yes. I yield.
Okay, we're going to get a glass of drink, and when we come back, Jerry back on Washington will add his voice, and before we can pivot to the next game. This is LPR. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Let me see this here. 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 Oh. Okay, let me get this up here and go to this one here, guys. Let's do the quick one here, and I will be right back.
Life is a journey, and as you travel down the line, you may remember something, the joy and tragedy in a story manner.
I'd like to remember that at one point of my life, growing up was very, very difficult for me as a child.
The Liberia Public Radio gives you the opportunity in a live interview to express your past. In this program, I Remembered.
I remember, and I will never forget my day of salvation.
And I remember growing up as a child, when I lost my dad, it was a very terrible time.
Join Benjamin Tibet, our international correspondent, on +225 07 4770 9404, +225 0505 675438. I Remembered, the podium where your voice is heard.
Okay, welcome back. I'm Alfonso Z, and so the rest of the analysts, they are here, standing by different states here, dissecting in real-time conversation some of the challenges. Let's come right here within my own proximity. Jerry Backhound is an LPR security analyst. I'm going to add a little layer to the conversations. You have the right to plead the fifth if you want to. I'm not saying you are in court, but you know, you can do whatever you want to do. Okay, we talk all about that. It's a change fracture in the event. You know, I know, we know, if one or two of the chief architects of the change, if they are left out for whatever reason that we do not know, do we still, can that change sustain? And if you want me to be specific, there's no hidden secret here. I will call it. I will call their name. In fact, let me let the cat out of the bag. John Malu was one of the major fundraisers. Because I want us to be real in our conversation without creating some sort of, so that the audience would get a precise takeaway. He was one of the chief architect fundraiser for now President Boyka when he was candidate. Comrade young advocate Martin Corley, he was one of those. When Henry Costa, he left behind Double Bridge before they even get to Freeport. Then all the car then were gone. But the reason I'm asking this, all of these people, they have their own supporter. The thing they fought for, there was one goal. My understanding, there was one goal. They had this conversation. Whatever differences were there, obvious that would be there. But then how come that this thing, why it was not sustained? Is it because there was some important conversations left out? Even when they were coming to this agreement, we will support, we will do this, and we'll make sure we'll succeed. Was it real that they have all of these conversations? And even if they did, how come other people, sooner or later, we get to know they were out of certain chat? Then there was some sort of disconnect. Now, there are other people now saying, other talking heads, oh, this is not what I expect. Oh, we didn't see this one coming, and all of that. Does that mean the change has already been fractured?
No. No. Never, ever been fractured. No. You see, this question is very prejudicial. I didn't know the content of the question, but now I know the content is very prejudicial. But here's the point I want to make to. Here's the point I want to make to you. Maybe you're forgetting history.
Remind me.
You and the so-called independent. You know? Let's look at Moses. Put it in the context.
Who Moses?
Moses in the Bible. But these are leaders. These are leaders. Hold on. We're talking about change.
I'm just asking us because when you say Moses, no, listen, don't be offended. Because I'm a guy, I don't want people to leave from here. Oh, one of the analysts say Moses. They get plenty of Moses. You get Moses at Lpr-Tv. They get Moses other places. When you call Moses, you need to push out the Moses. Go ahead.
Okay. Moses in the Bible.
Okay.
He was a leader. He led the people. He did not reach the promised land. Okay? And Joshua was able to reach the people to the promised land. In that process, there were casualties. People rebuked him because of his vision, even though God had told him, carry my people to the promised land. It was a mandate by God and say, God, carry my people, carry my people. But there was a rebuke. When he was going, God did not tell him there was going to be a snake on the ground, there'll be a river, there'll be a ocean that you're not going to cross. So there'll be a lot of obstacles. That's the point. So change is come with a lot of pain. Let me remind you. Indira Gandhi, when he was fighting for the independence of India, he fought. What happened to him? Let's look at Nelson Mandela. His own people, even though the ANC, there were fractures within the ANC. Okay, even though he came from out of prison, he was going to become president. But look at the 27 years that he was in prison. What happened to him? There was a change. We're coming. Let's go back to the America you must have living today. Maybe some of the history is there. From systematic farming to that of modern farming, people don't want to make that change because they felt at that time people were changing from systematic farming to that of modern farming, and people were against it. I come in, there's a revolution, there's a change. I just want to put these things in context, probably put it to historical perspective. Okay, in America here, from the change from coins to that of paper money, it was a fight. Nobody wanted to change for the coins to that of paper money to current you must say using today. So all these things that happen, it had effect on people, no matter what society you're in. So I just want to repeat, let's go forward in the 19th century, after World War II, the Industrial Revolution. You think everybody will happy with the Industrial Revolution? No. Okay, the New Deal in America that opened the vacuum of the America. People say, no, we can't pass a road on my land. The mountain, people destroy the mountain. Advocates or people say, oh, the environment going to destroy the environment, or the water, this is going to happen. These are changes. Changes come with you will not live to see it, folks. So I'm not in the classroom that I can't teach history here, but these are the changes that are coming, and they are still exist. We need to learn these things in the great United States of America. Even the democracy they talk about today, they are still fighting to modify it. They're still fighting how it function. One man, one vote. They want to show in our throat. In our throat.
Yeah, Mr. So can I push back a little bit on?
Yeah, okay. Masa got a lot of pushback.
Dr. Mali.
So our boss, I just read out there. So let us have a good discussion.
Yeah, just quickly, just for you guys to know, and you can disagree with me. You say he's not here to teach class, but we are in the church now, more or less. Now we're going to Bible.
No, I'm not preaching. I'm giving history. These are leaders. These are leaders who affect people's lives. These are leaders. That's a leaders. These are leaders who affect people's lives.
Okay. I'm in the 21st century, so I'm more or less concerned what is happening. Yeah, okay, Collins. I think Collins.
Yeah, Mr. Bhagwan is philosophically, that expressing himself, which is good. But what I want to push on Mr. Mali, when he said that whether a President Boyka have come and brought any change, Mr. Mali, it is certain that we have brought a change. All right, the change of leadership from under President Weah. You knew how the government was like under President Weah. There is a change, and you also have been resisting change. In this, when we were here, we talk about this. How you call it? We talk about this. The World Economic Crime Code, and you said it's not going to be possible because we don't have this, we don't have that, we don't have the other. You are one of those on this network that help to resist change. They talk about the motorcyclists, the regulation of the motorcyclists in the street. They say, oh, if you move the motorcyclist, what would they do? What would they die? Every time we try to bring analogy that will bring some level of change in the society, you guys resist it because you don't want for certain things to happen. So they say, oh, that President Boyka did this. So obviously there have been a change. President Weah have been fighting to get this war and economic crime code thing on the table to a level where we can fight it.
Terry, let me inject 1 second. Let me inject 1 second. 1 second.
Oh no! We can't do that.
No. But you did it. You did it. You did it. All right, go ahead.
Hold on.
You did it. You see?
You gotta hold on.
You talk about change. You was question.
Let me tell you now.
All right.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Mr. Collins. Go ahead. I'll pause. When my time comes, I will make it. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
So the market women.
Mr. Collins.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
I have a very effective co-host. When you and your liberal on your day away, keep my show, then you can borrow time. We don't borrow meaning and time from people here.
Liberal, you low. We can't hear you clear.
All Jerry eyes was for Terry to yield, and this is part of the conversation. And you're going to object to that on this intellectual platform, Mali? What is this? It's some sort of a gulag? The man eyes simply.
You did not be the program.
You hold on, Dr. Mali. I'm talking. You hold on. You hold on.
Okay, listen.
All you did was to
hold on.
Terry to yield, which is part of the discord. And Terry accepted. Now you're going to say no. Changing the rules. Unacceptable.
Okay, listen. See, this is how your Liberian people, you always get yourself into trouble. Terry is not in the The reason his request was denied because he asked the wrong person. You want to ask me, and I will ask. That's how we do it.
Respect the chair.
In the change, we don't just get her and put things in the bus and take them all. Just how you do it.
No. You two are missing the point. Once you yield to Terry to speak, Terry have the platform to speak until his time is over. So while he's speaking, he's in control. Jerry eyes for the time. That's how.
Liberal, this is not a banana. Liberal. This is not a banana. This is not a banana platform.
People are going to be quiet.
Liberal, this is not a banana platform.
Listen,
I think you guys are changing it to the banana platform right now.
No, please know we are in total. This is the area public radio. Mr. Bacon will ask this question when he addressed it to the chief moderator, who is in charge.
Okay, Putin, we agree. We accept the Putin.
All right, Mr. Moderator, can I one question, one judgment, please?
Okay. Your guy disassociate, he had denounced you. He's asking me now. You see where you
if I wanted how to adapt to the system, and I seen change you were talking about, so it's the same thing. So you see, I'm following as the rules, I followed it. That's the rule.
Mr. Collins, hold on. Now he followed the right. Go ahead. You're made up to that by force.
The Israeli.
Mr. Collins, I just wanted for you to make your point, Mr. Excellency had just pointed, Mr. or Charlton Masakwe as the chief director
Right.
for the Walk Crown Code. That's why I just want to bring it to your attention. Why are you making a deliberation?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for that interjection.
Good. Good.
Mr. So can I
Yeah,
wrap up?
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
you know, when you're resisting change, how can you be again saying that we have not changed? So it means that you just want to be in a position wherein you will be able to say these people have not changed because you know you don't want to see the government succeed. All right. We have changed a leadership that used to bring in drugs into the country through the airport of the Republic of Liberia. We have changed a leadership that 100 million drugs pass through. Since we changed the leadership, have you not seen change in the drug enforcement agency? There are great changes. We have been seeing a lot of drugs coming in, you know, and a lot of things have been exposed. Even in the Liberian people themselves. And you raised a very excellent point when you said, whether if the system itself will allow the change. President Boga took over an empty economy. Go and see the international media, what they wrote about Liberia economy. The economy was bankrupt. You know, you got people taking money out of the economy to spend it on elections. The old man took over nothing in the country. Civil servants are not being paid. All right. People scatter here and there. So he came with the change mantra, but within 6 months, that change cannot be accomplished because you don't have the mechanism to work with to be able to infect the change. And let me tell you, there are some key figures that because Mr. So said, there are some key figures that will always drop off the boat, like the likes of Molu, the likes of Ramo. These guys have their own way how they want change to be. That does not mean that, and because they don't see it in the time frame they want that change to take place, does not mean that the change is not going to happen or the change is not happening. The problem they drop off is just because the change is not happening on the pace or the level they want it to happen at. And it's not possible within 6 months if they have the understanding and the technical know-how, especially looking at the kind of society that we're living in Liberia. Look at the people in Waterside. These people selling on the road, you tell them to move, they get problem. The people the other day, they were demonstrating in Pinsville because the police told them to leave from on the road for their own safety so that they can go in. They say, oh, we have to sell on the road. You build the president, we are himself, you build the marketplace for the people to go in the market to sell. The people key on the road to sell. So the system itself reject change. So in order to enforce that, it will be bit by bit over a period of time.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. This is what these guys do. They always protect their own alligators, and eventually they goes into the belly of the alligator. That's why it's dangerous. You as a facilitator, when you take side, then you will always be doing political correctness. You always defend. You always do a damage control, and that's why you, the liberal, and Jerry Washington back on always doing.
But your co-hosts are already taking side.
Can I push back? Can I push back?
No. It's not your time. It's not your time. It's my time. That's the rule. You guys establish it, and we're gonna follow it.
No,
So,
it's not even your time. I don't know why you want to impose yourself into something. Wait for your time.
After then I come in, then Mali.
No, I am cycling this based on I see what is happening. The white for the good of the show, not what you want to see happening. Let me go to Connecticut. Wilton Keto is standing by. Keto, are you there?
Yes, sir. the greatest moderator and
the independent voice is ready for watch.
The greatest moderator of all time, the greatest independent of all time. And so thank you for the conversation, and let's say good evening to everyone on the platform. Great conversation. Look, Terry, at this point, you guys should bow your heads in shame. When you spoke, I mean, the context in which the CEO brought this topic about change, it's not like nobody knows the definition for change. We're running all around the place talking about the kind of change. I mean, the different change and how slow and fast. Or no, that's not what we're talking about yet. When you sat on a platform for 6 years and said this president, the former president, was flying private jets, and it was bad for our country, and you come, you do it differently. and you come, you do the same thing. That's what Mr. Mali was saying. You fly black carry debt. When you come and say this president employ people, half of the government or more than half of the government employee came from the southeastern region. And today you have over 51% of your government officials from Lopa County. That's what we're talking about. When you come and say that nepotism was in the government, which of course he was vice president of, and even president, we are government. When you come and you start employing your nephews and your family people into position, that's what we're talking about. When you preach about crimes against humanity, then you turn around and bring the very people that committed crimes against humanity in our country and put them into position of trust. Then you say you're not serious about the change you talk about. So these are things we are saying here today. When you talk about corruption in the past government for 6 years, when you come to office or when you were elected, you were not even officially into office and you start corrupting the system. These are the things we are talking about here. So where is the change? About only in 6 months? Only in 6 months you are going to damage the president. We are in 6 years. This is what Molu was saying. In 6 months, you have caused our country to go back 25 more years. And President Weah, you think that President Weah put our government in 6 months? Let me give you historical facts about things that President Weah brought. When President Weah became president,
are we going to continue to listen to this all night?
You guys talk about President Weah, and I will bring it back to you. Poor community road was not in existence, and he promised that he will build road. In 3 months, we saw road.
Yeah, with a light pole in the middle of the street.
There was no military hospital. He put it down there.
I don't want to sanction you.
But the first time there was society, there was no school, or university that had people go to school for free. He made tuition-free policy in the country. He paid YXP for our children.
Okay, all right.
He did a lot of positive things that were bringing change. But the problem here is, are we acceptable to change?
Are we acceptable to change? What a consequential question. Okay, making a fair balance. The liberal progressive, Dr. Mali, he come and put his foot in his mouth. So just hold on, and then you will help him to take it out. The liberal.
I'm listening.
I'm sure you are eager to come in. Maybe you get a contrast.
Yeah, I think this program tonight, and I don't even have to go much, as you always have been suggesting to us, that the audience on this platform must have a voice. And let's listen to Daniel Gidnia. He said, no auditor have been killed.
Thank you.
No $25 million map out.
Thank you.
No building of properties. Okay, here we go. No building of property. No making music. No going to watch football games. That great change. It was good for George Weah to be voted out. He just gave you a bunch of things that when this go, and that's just a simple stuff. But here's the main thing here, Mr. So. With the like of Dr. Mali and Walter Carter, who are undercover, Walter Carter is of true sedition. Dr. Mali is an undercover sedition. We know that from day one. He's not an independent person. He's an undercover sedition, and therefore his argument has always been like that. So that's fine. This platform is big enough to take all of us. So you can come in with your flab at night analysis, which some of them don't even fit on this platform. But this platform would accept it, and we'll take all of it. But let me say this here to Dr. Matt. Yeah, look at this kind of statement the PhD, LPR PhD is making. He said he is still struggling for. I'm speaking. He is still struggling for a few things. Speaking about the president of the Republic of Liberia. And then he said, change is a trap. If change is a threat, why you even want to talk about it? Ridiculous. I wrote your statement down here. So these are people we have to, if we want true change. We have a bigger problem. If we want, how can I, the man with I don't call it GED, how can I convince this PhD see reason that change is indeed good for our people? It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. But here we are. We will do our best to educate these PhD people that are going around and exposing. If this was capital punishment here, he would be on board. Ridiculous. Subjective ideas. Ridiculous. This government is here. The President Bakai has, and I told you yesterday, President Bakai is in a unique position for whatever change that is coming, because he understood it. He has participated in many changes. He knows where they're good and he knows where it's bad. That is called experience. He didn't get the experience overnight. He didn't come to the position through the back door. He was voted into power to get rid of your Dr. Manley and Walter Carter, your CDC, the inept CDC that you guys continue to praise. Ridiculous. We will be here and be the counterweight to tell you guys that your people are not the right people to talk about change. We are here to talk about change. And President Bakai, not only are we talking about change, but President Bakai is implementing the changes that's supposed to happen in this country. So please, come up with another topic. Mr. So find another topic that perhaps you and your people will shine on, because tonight you guys stand no chance. We're winning this change topic here. It's on our side and everybody is gravitating towards us. You heard what Daniel said here. So please, you guys are not getting any point on this one tonight. If you think you want to have some sort of a point to school point, no, this is a wrong talking point for you and your independent, whatever. What independent? Independent will undercover CDC, you call them independent. Unacceptable on this platform. This is the platform where the liberals have the right to express themselves freely. So please, come up with another topic. Water Cutter coming here, naming all kinds of stuff, like CDC as usual, getting ready to put their foot in your mouth. And whenever I try to help them out, they don't want to listen. Gonna come out here and give us a myriad of a story that don't hold no water. For 10 minutes, he's out there. He can't even show himself. He want to talk up behind the phone, on the phone, so nobody can see how embarrassing situation he's facing. He has to do it from the darkness. And we don't do that. Look at me. I'm speaking about President Bakai. Live. My hands are moving. I'm speaking about President Bakai. What face is there for people to see? This is what we're talking about.
Dr. Male?
Yes, this was a very good rehearsal, but I don't know where it's heading. However, I wanted to push back on Mr. Bargum. All his historical analysis he just brought in, there's a serious big connect with the issue of change as it relates to the change we are talking about. I rather been struggling to see the connection. I don't see it. Anyway, back to Collins. I said, and I will repeat myself. That's a feedback.
Yeah. Willie, I think you're having a feedback. When you said Twitter, you should call. Yeah, go ahead. Somebody call about there.
I want to repeat myself on the platform. I said, if Joseph Boakai ended President Weah's government on the basis that he did not fulfill the changes he promised the Liberian people, and he also said the Liberian people were, in the same token, yearning for change. And if President Boakai is repeating the struggle for which he ended George Weah's government, he repeating the same thing, then that wasn't a change. That was to satisfy his political ambition. I stand by that statement. Furthermore, there's an analysis Liberal just put forward here about this man going to football stadium, this man. That's not reason why for me, I wanted George Weah removed. I wanted George Weah removed for 3 things. One, there was no protection for the masses in Liberia. Has that changed today? No. There's a serial killer going on, still killing people in Liberia there up to today. The police department under His Excellency President Joseph Boakai, those killers are still on the run since we are there up to today. That portion of the change, it hasn't been fulfilled yet. 2, the inaugural stuff. This government came on the mantra of being transparent and accountable. Just the inauguration money up to today, the account is still inconclusive. Has that change been fulfilled? No. Did we realize it in past government? Yes. So that change is nowhere around. Mr. Collins just said that the government came, His Excellency took over a government and nothing was in the cover. There is nothing to show that that His Excellency audited George Weah government as he promised. So up to today, we don't know what George Weah did with all the money. We don't know what happened to it. There is nothing. I stand to be educated on the platform tonight. How much they left behind, whether an audit was done to go through the exercise of President Weah's stewardship and get all that report. I have not seen it yet. I yield.
Thank you so much. Let's get our 2 callers. We're going to go a few minutes on the important thing before we go here. Willie, let's hear you quickly.
Yeah, Mr. So, how you guys doing? Thanks for the show tonight.
Good. Welcome.
You see, I will always continue to say this on this platform in the sense that Liberia will never change. It will change, but not a positive change. Because you guys sound so ridiculous tonight on the show. Terry, my papi, I know they were on a water show last night. Oh, okay.
No, I said, well, if you call people names so the people know who you're talking about, you call Terry.
Mr. Mani was on a water show last night. But I'm trying to say, if Terry, I don't know, you don't have to lie, or we are not still running campaign. This is a sin propaganda. This is still lies and confuse the majority of the people who could not read and write that today President Boakai is suffering with in Liberia. Oh, Joshua, how many times we saw DAA bringing drugs that they will invite all the partners, UN, UE, all the people to go bring our drugs. And you're saying, well, which leadership used to order drugs or blood drugs in Liberia? And you sit on the platform and continue to laugh from the capital, the leadership will bring you drugs through the airport in Liberia. My brother, we gotta be fair to ourselves. The change that continue to go on in Liberia is a group of people sitting there somewhere when they are not in that power. There is no positive change. But when they get there, then that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
This government, the supporters of the government should be there. It's not even because of the way President Boakai out there, the most experienced, more educated. We come here today, people are fighting. What's the price of better right today in Liberia? The other time in Gaza City, a lady beat her daughter because she wasted green or rice. The lady in the house. Where is the positive change? $22 million in that row. We can't even see. Oh, I apologize for saying no, I can't apologize. Today, the change that people like Jolly Canada did, the Western high water outside just during those days.
Okay, well, thank you.
Today, they're taking millions of dollars.
All right, thank you so
much.
much.
Not also the change will come to Liberia because of the deception. Corrupt mind. That makes I tell you what it makes that whatever you will do, it will not be bad. That's rare.
Thank you so much. Okay. All right, thank you for participating. We are now accepting calls, I think, pretty well. Everybody have spoken. So before we go, is there anybody want to say something?
Of course.
Mr. Mali now, yeah, wanted to say something, but he's not here.
But
So.
you were here in the divan.
Back and go ahead.
See, Dr. Mali. Here you are. Say all my analysts say it got no connection. Mr. Nelson Mandela fought for to end apartheid. If you say not change, then I don't know where you are. India Gandhi fought to bring a change for the country to get independent. If it's not changed, then I don't know where you are.
Mm.
So I just want to leave that one part. I go back to the same thing. The change of money from that of coins to that of paper money. If it's not a change, what we're using currency right now, then I don't know where you are. But anyway, yes, my point I try to make. So my dear brother, with the whole talk about Josh Weir. Josh Weir, you want to compare his legacy, even Mr. Buckeye, his legacy as a vice president, as a former official government before he became president. You want to compare his legacy with that of Josh Weir? That's a shame. You're talking about Mr. Buckeye using a private jet. Of course, he had used a private jet. Let us acknowledge that. But when Josh Weir came to power,
we should do what? You said what we should do?
I said we acknowledge he used a private jet. That's fine because he went to what they played in Guinea-Bissau. He used a private jet, and people said it. What?
Because you were going to Guinea-Bissau.
Listen, Mr. Tool.
I'm asking questions.
Yeah, why
when people ask questions?
Listen to me. Okay, ask your question. I say let her acknowledge that he used a private jet to leave from Liberia to go to Guinea-Bissau, and he came back. He said,
well, let me tell you now.
Okay, let me hear my statement. And you can.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead. That's fine.
Okay. And he came back from Guinea-Bissau. He said, "You know what? I'm not going to use the what is private jet when Josh Weir came. What he told us the first day. By the time he was raising a hand to SKD, the private jet was landing to our feet. Where's the private? He said somebody gave it to me to lend it to me to use it. Then he said, "Oh, today there's no story. The story says zigzag today."
All right.
Okay. Buckeye have not left the country to go somewhere 65 days to go jolly or to go to Ghana overnight and come back. So folks, so you cannot compare Buckeye with that of Mr. Weir. Let's be realistic here.
Okay.
In conclusion, change. Can I learn? Change it comes with pain. Let's more realize that. Change comes with pain, no matter how you look at it. Because it's bring regulation, it brings changes to this community, and there are people who will be in that community who will not like the change that are coming. But as a leader, you got to be very persistent and consistent with your decision making.
Okay. Terry, before I go to my point, and we'll go to a few minutes. There's something I wanted to throw out here quickly. But Terry, you wanted to respond to something?
Yeah, so the guy was saying that President, we had time people were burning drugs. Where you saw people burning drugs, no Tabata thing, what they were doing. We saw in, I think, Grand Jide, the boys then were demanding that these drugs be burned for them to see it live. The DEA people refuse. In President, we have leadership. Then you get it, you telling us here that the people are burning drugs. The people demanded that the drugs be burned before them. So look, let us stop those kind of things. Also, President we have fly private jet from the day he was inaugurated into power. We saw that private jet, Pacific jet, that was assigned to him for 6 years. President Boca fly 2 private jets, but they were 2 different flights. that was granted to him. The last flight he went on a few days, we saw him boarding a commercial flight. That is change. We have a leader that when the people speak, he listens to them. That is change. We have a leader, President Boyka has spoken to the nation just within 6 months more than 5 times. But since when? President, we are for 6 years. When you saw him speaking to you, those are change. So let us address the change holistically. We are not saying we are there yet. We are not there yet. All right. But let us see the gradual progression of change that is taking place in the society. And we must address it from a holistic view, not narrow it down to just pinpoint specific area that what Ms. Mamadi is doing, pinpointing specific area and holding on to it. Then you are not being honest. You are being biased. Address the change holistically. That's my point of argument, Mr. So.
Okay, I know.
Can I inject to Mr. Barton?
30 seconds, please. We are already over time. We just have 5 more minutes to go. Yeah, go ahead quickly, Ketra. We're not taking call again. Sorry to say.
So Mr. Barton said that President Walker's legacy as vice president cannot be compared to President Weah. He's right, absolutely right. There's no way President Walker's legacy can be compared to President Weah, because President Walker's legacy, he was one of the most filled vice president. A man who squandered opportunity, a man who was packed as a car. There's no way you can compare that kind of legacy to a vibrant young leader. Thank you, Mr. Barton.
Yes, okay. Man, when you were senator in the past, he never passed one bill. He never passed one bill. He never passed one bill. He was silent throughout his entire senator before he became president. When he became president, he never even have a open press conference. So I want you to be aware of that. When you were in the Senate, ask him one Senate. So you want to compare Mr. Walker without let's get real.
Yeah, so we need to get real, and people should start being dishonest here.
I don't think that's reality.
Yeah, you're violating the rules now. You're breaking the laws. You spoke, we didn't talk, he listened to you, now he says something. When they're even talking about George Weah, you're not even supposed to talk. You are one of the creators of George Weah. So all of the that we are having here, you facilitated this guy, and for whatever reason, you left it. And 2, let me just say this here, and we have a last quick point here to go. It was unfortunate the seditions, they were unable to defend a position while the president was riding private jet. I am not against it. We are in a volatile and consequential war, life situation nowadays. What I agree or disagree with the president, I will not be the one to dispose danger to my president, whether it be a George Weah or President Boyka now, coming to America or going somewhere, and then he goes in Europe, say using Brussels and go sit for 6-5 hours somewhere. Do you know what's going to happen?
As a president,
we are in a terrorist war. Anybody can kidnap and starve your president. But the seditions they were unable because they lacked that skill to defend government position. That is a national security issue. What kind of country you see Ghana, Ivory Coast, that the people get a presidential jet? The president should travel anytime, anywhere when the situation demands it. That jet should be parked at a tarmac any other time. So the argument they want ride private jet because they didn't know how to fix the message of the president of the government. This is why it became a talking point. But before we go here, quickly here, I will put this up, and then we already over the time, then we can chime on it here, and I will play something, we'll listen to it. The Ministry of Information is not a propaganda institution, but to defend the government's position. And yeah, why? I was so disappointed. If our President Boyka, somebody here will roll. Listen to this.
Pointing to the fact that the government of Liberia released former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Council of Governors, who's called and co-defendant of compassion relief. We've come here with independent journalists from zero media institutions. We have Spoon FM, we have Women Voices, we have the New Liberal Press, Right. Well, Crown FM, OK FM, have the community voices.
You gotta get in the audio,
so
right?
we come to
Yeah.
have this very brief chat with the former justice who is here. Justice, who from the Ministry of Information, Culture, Place and Tourism. We're happy to come to see you. How are you doing so far? Yeah. There are media reports out there that you've been released on compassion with. What do you say? Okay.
This is sad. This is sad. That's a deputy minister. What his name?
Sano.
Sano. You know, you will never see Alhaji, the late Alhaji Koman, to do that.
That was a mistake.
Emmanuel Buya to do that. See Alenzon Carpet to do that. And that has been the problem from time to time in memorial of George Weah and even this government. And I'm telling you, the president is furious because the president is pissed. You just expose the Ministry of Information. You defend government position. That lady is a felon. It's a convicted criminal. Come on, give me a break. And you taking the Ministry of Information, we come here to see, and the people say this, she doesn't have a lawyer, that you will go take it. Carrying those people, do you think it's an independent role?
Ignorance, Mr.
Ministry of Information, you were, or if there was anything said both in the electronic and print media, all you need to do, when last you saw any kind of minister, somebody that is convicted and sentenced in jail, seeking appeal, whatever. You give a person, if government feels there was anything, you give a person that why you choke the whole crew and you go down there, we come here to see and Gloria Musu start knocking table. Nonsense. I think the president has a role because, and I see what is going on. There's another side of this president that began to grab little by little. You know, people took advantage of other situations with past government. They think they were their cause, or they think their popularity, or they were whatever they think, and they think they're going to ride on the donkey's back and think everything just going to go quiet. Jeremy, he served as a presidential secretary. I don't think.
But where was he?
How
did he allow his deputy to go over there?
You were in Nima. You want me to tell you who he went to Nima?
Yeah, we need to know.
I'm telling you, and the president is pissed because continue to do the same crap where they said the commerce minister, they continue to do the. You cannot, the Ministry of Information of the Republic of Liberia defends government position. You're not a propaganda something. I don't care how it operates your job. And this is where, Terry, I know we are going over the time. This is where the misconception and they think what the public would think, like the police and all of these institutions. When I'm a police spokesperson, you think when the police do something, your job there to be like a fixer, because whatever happens, it is the government of the Republic of Liberia. Gloria Musu is a convicted criminal. She's in jail. That's not the role of the Ministry of Information for he to take media. We come here to see and we do this and that independent. That's not more independent. You already compromised the case. We all know, and this is how government is being pictured by. And when these things happen, guess what? It goes on the president, because we all know the past history too, which of course he's a lawyer, it's a strong ally. But when you do that, even if the president do not know about it, I, as a free thinker, I would say it is within the acquiescence of the president. She get a lawyer. How many of those criminals that are in jail now go outside to see whether their house leaking and they want buy zinc, they want to do this? Is that why you take the whole ministry people, you take press people to go there? They need to stop. They need to take government work seriously. It was wrong. If she has anything, her civil liberties seems is being compromised, is being diminished, she will speak through her lawyer. Not for you to go sit down there, she knocking, he's criminal. You criminal, you calling somebody else criminal? Or you calling other past people criminal? I think that was wrong. And the president is furious about that. And I don't think whoever supported Joseph Boyka will never condone that, because the Ministry of Information is a very reputable institution. When they speak, foreign diplomat, foreign government, donors listen. So to have children to be acting like a little toddlers and doing things and the thing they want to appease the president is unacceptable, and we need to speak to that. Jerry Bacon Boishen is not happy right now with what I'm saying.
Oh no.
You're going to get back on?
Yeah, I want the two Boishens to speak about that first.
You know,
Terry is a free thinker like myself. Jerry is having a platform now. He's unwilling to speak. The liberal.
How come you speak? How come you speak? But give it to Mr. Todd. Let Mr. Todd speak.
You see that they're struggling. They don't want, because they do not want. They want to protect their own alligator. Okay, wait on Kato. Let me hear you.
So you see, when we say people who are incompetent, people who was around for 6 years, still part of trash, lies and hypocrisy and deception. When it comes to the place, the real job, they can't perform it. Daniel Sando preached a lot of propaganda on Spoon. They gave him the opportunity to be on deputy information, so wherever he is. He broke forward and carried the same propaganda. He did not only talk about the Guamusu Scott case, he even talked about Cotty Brown, Bishop Cotty Brown. And he was attacking the man, your government. This man has aired of his dissatisfaction about certain things the government, how the government proceeding. And he went on the podium and attacked the man on the podium. Is that how you're going to unite the nation? Is that how you're going to unite the nation? We should pass the idea that there is a division part of the country and a unity part of the country. As a government now, you have the ability to govern and unite the people. Instead, you bring more division and attacking other citizens who expressing what they feel that is wrong in this government. So I think it's screw up.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Collins, your guy is holding his head, very uncomfortable with what I said, unwilling to talk, liberal acting like nothing is happening while we are talking about his indifferent war, because it's embarrassing. And he doesn't want to speak the fact. But I know you are the only person that have the guts to do that. Do you think what they did the last time was that a right thing?
Yeah, like the last time we'll talk about Gloria Muscat here, I talk about from the legal perspective on the basis of whether if the process was right or wrong, and that is it. But this video here, with I even talk about it on a different something. This video here showing the deputy minister going over there, I think that was very, very wrong. All right, the optics does not look good on the government, and that is why people like William Kettledon, who had that type of government that no check and balances, no accountability, nothing straight, will come here on the network to be shouting all over the place. It gave them talk to talk, and they will be right too, to be honest, because you as a legitimate government, what was Sando? And one thing, Sando have never worked. I don't know if he have working experience in that particular field. Apparently, he have worked other places, but have he worked in the communication field before? Do he have any experience in that area? If I know that the president, due to sympathizing with the alliance, because he comes from the Liberty Party and because of Yombly and all of that, and the way they supported the rescue train, the puppet decided to send him over there. Apparently, she advocated for him to go there too. But then, these are the kind of things that happen when you give slack to people who are not prepared for that particular era. They're going to blunder. And the optics on the government does not look good. Because now, if Glover Scott have this compassionately, legitimately, which I believe it was legitimate, and she do not return, people will say, oh, but the government freed the woman. The deputy information minister said it. So I think President Boyka need to take action. I think he need to suspend Daniel Sando for at least 1 or 2 months, and to show some level that, oh yeah, we disassociate ourselves from what Daniel Sando was saying.
Yeah, but even the minister have not spoken anything. The minister,
the minister himself have not speaking.
because he himself screwing up a lot because he's not. Maybe he thinks the Ministry of Information is propaganda. No, the Ministry of Information is there to defend government positions to the bottom. You're not there to say that you are there to interpret, to defend government position. If there's anything to be corrected, it can happen, but not for you to be, because what he's doing there is just a propaganda. They're not you supposed to, you're not supposed to go there. That woman is a prisoner. She's a convicted felon already. She's a criminal. What are they?
Yeah, according to the law, yeah. For now, she is until she can be proven, until she can be vindicated.
There's knocking the table. Yes, it was just like, okay, she wants to say something, and I would just think it that way. As a free thinker, she wanted to say something, so they decided to orchestrate something to give her the platform. And when she was knocking something, you criminal, you calling somebody criminal? You supposed to
I thought that was wrong.
You're not.
The optics don't go look good.
Yeah, send it to the police. Then you supposed to, whether somebody stole from your house, you need to channel that communication to your lawyer. You get a lawyer. At that point in time, everything is on hold. Guys, we're going to leave here this evening.
All right, let me say this. I didn't mean that Jerry is choke. I can't talk.
Okay, no. If the object goes down, that's fine. You can
no. You know, when it comes to words, I'm not afraid to talk. The words come out of mouth. I don't have to go borrow it. You know, I came from B. I learned a good book. I ain't even school field. Let me tell you right now. Anyway,
I didn't even say that.
Okay, that's what I'm about to say. But anyway, see, I was afraid to talk. So here's a question. You see, Mr. Boakai, the Excellency, he has simplified everything. What's his name? Eugene Falcon says similar thing what the deputy minister said the other time. Okay, and his chest side, Mr. Eugene Falcon. So there's a lessons for to be learned to those who are in the media system to be able to learn where you meet this thing. You are a deputy minister. Eugene Falcon had that position before. So there was a lesson there. But apparently, most of the guys, I don't know. Why they thinking? Do they think before they talk, or
they think that they think we stay in campaign mood?
No.
They think that we stay.
Can you ask Jerry why he doesn't know? Why you don't know?
I don't know, so I can't comment on it. That's what I'm saying. Because these are the people, because Eugene Falcon made that same statement that was a propaganda, and we're going to go, some way he said it, anyway, almost similar to what the deputy minister said. So,
Honor President, we are, right?
Why you don't
know? No, Mr. Baka was mad at Eugene Falcon.
Oh, yeah, the LBS stuff.
Yeah, LBS stuff, exactly. So, and he's saying the same thing. So, folks, the lesson is learned, to be learned. That's what I want to say. Thank you. Good night. See you tomorrow. We'll be here. The Liberal going to be here tomorrow in full swing. Matter of fact, I'm the co-host.
You better pray whether you will send our link to
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
The man of you out there talking about. He left you and said it on Male June, Dr. June. So continue working with him, man. You will know.
All right, good night.
You know what a cat can do? It can eat your own baby. Okay, Terry, guys.
But, I mean, setting a precedent. I mean, he's setting a precedent. That's what it is. It's a good precedent.
Okay.
I mean, anybody that comes across it, you know, it will not spare you. That's what it is.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. The Liberals, you have anything to say before we go?
No, I just said good night, and it's a wonderful show.
Okay.
I'm tired.
Yeah, the night beat you up. Used to tell you night beat you up.
Good night.
Thank you.
Mr. Mali did not bring the water bottle tonight. I don't know.
No, but water bottle, see water bottle run away. What are you talking about?
Okay, guys. Have a pleasant evening. Okay, well, folks, that does it this event. I'm Alfonso Ziensot of the Liberal Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to thank you so much. We will always discuss this critical issue, and I know at times it's a pain in the neck, and you know, we have to say as it is. But I think, and I think a lot of hairs will roll from what I see. Most of these people, the president will let them go. because I would say more or less it's a coalition, different parties, interest group, different people put together. So most of these people, they were accommodated on that basis. But I think after the first 1 year, people were hairs were rack, because some of these people, they just, for whatever reason, and it like they're not getting their way, things they want to do, they are not doing it, so they try to do anything possibly they can to manufacture. And I don't think the president is allowing that much, or the token for granted, and so they're not allowing the things. And I can tell you, for so long, and I kept saying this here, most of those progressive / Moja boys that have been fighting hard to get to state power, they are there. Cool up, calm down. Joseph Boyka will not easily let what his name, the Minister of State, Sylvester Grace, to go. Unless in a very, very extreme case, they are very close, and in leadership, you look for loyalists. You may not agree with it. And this is why sometimes people who lead a change to a pathway, when they get there, in order to sustain that change, some of those people must be inflicted to bring in new group. Yeah, Grace Bell, that was a Cummings guy. He's a classmate to Joseph Boyka. They are close friends. He was nowhere around the campaign and that they are saying, which of course is true. But there is other aspect the president takes a look at. He's a good friend. He's competent. He's qualified. I trust him in order to have him as the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. This is the guy that reviews the president confidential or whatever documents that comes before the desk of the president. Do you think that somebody they can just easily sack? So then think about it when you are thinking that George Weah should fire Nathaniel McGee. Those people are there specifically to do the dirty work. You do not understand it because you do not know how government works. They are there to do the dirty work of the president and maybe the government. You can call, make an appointment today, and they say, come. When you get there, it is within the purview of Sylvester Grisby as the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs to do this last revision before they can usher you into to the president. Do you think he would do things without the acquiescence of the president? Do you know the ideology, the traditions of the Moja boys? The Moja boys, if you don't agree with them, and that's where the sin and the soup come from, they don't see eye to eye. The Samuel Kofi Woods and all of those people, they are the proteges of the Moja. For so long, those boys been wanting to get to state power. Why you think Kofi Woods could not be President Boyka did not send him any other place? He could be Minister of Labor and other places, but he's a national security. So the president looks for people who he trusts, people that he can count on, people that can be the last person to talk to before he goes to bed and meet his wife. Now, why you and myself think I could have talked for President Boyka yesterday, but he now is a president. His thinking, his engagement, his interactions is different. So there are certain things will be cut off. And that's why certain people do not get here. And that's why most of them are out of the chat room. Yesterday is gone. Today is a new day. When you're president, you do it presidential way. When you are campaigner, well, you do it a campaigning way. So there is no way, no amount of pressure coming from anywhere. This one do day, Sylvester Grisby that day, the president, unless if it is convincing to the president. And even if it is convincing to the president will look for a strong confidant, someone that you can trust in. There are certain people you can just let go. If you don't know that, let me just tell you, you can't easily let them go because they know a lot of you. So in the process of letting them to go, you could even get into trouble. Because whatever the date, they were acting on the ordered of the chief executive. There is no way. There is no way. If Mr. Raja had gone there to see the president, even though the appointment, everything were confirmed, and for whatever reason, something new developed, and he went there, and the Minister of State said, you know what, the president is busy today. The president is engaged with other leaders or stuff. You can see the president. You are forced to say, you can't. Joseph Boyka is not going to act or be like Samuel Doe in a strong situation, in a crisis, where he went and dismissed Grady Allison and bring in Boyman Barkley, the man literally who was already dying himself, to make him defense minister during crisis, who could not give or lead the military in making good decisions. So he's not going to sit down there for people to be so easily neutralized by getting his ally. Does that mean everything Sylvester Grisby is doing in support of it? No. But I'm just speaking it from the perspective of how government works and his trust that he has in Sylvester Grisby as the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. With Kofi Woods and all of those people being around him as the National Security Advisor, those are the last people that the president gets in contact with. Daily briefings, late briefing before the president leaves, whether he go home or whatever he go to a work with Toma or whatever her name, those are the last people the president will ever have conversation with. Those are the very first people the president encountered for morning briefing when he enters his office. So for you and myself and somebody to say there, oh, Sylvester Gloria Mude, you're giving yourself headache. Unless otherwise the situations, unless otherwise that trust diminish, unless otherwise there's a breach. Government is not a social club. And that was the essence of this change. Everybody who brought this change from the ground to the top will not survive to see this change. And in order for change to survive, you have to have a new people that you're going to do with business, see the contract. Go and look at the Green Book of Muammar Gaddafi. Follow the history of Sierra Leone's Valentin Stryces when he was a military leader. What happened? Judah Marabiu now was the guy that cut him off. Follow the history of Thomas Sankara. What happens to him? One of his principal deputy. The history of Samuel Doe, former Major General Thomas was saying. Charles Taylor, some of his staff generals, the Cassius Jacob, and all of those people, the revolution swallowed in because he needed a new commitment or new contractors to sustain the revolution. The Kankala, the progressives. We saw what happened with Bacchus Matthews. When he went to foreign ministry, how long did he stay? Even the Helen Johnson Sirleaf, Nelson Blamo, talking and bringing over to keep close eyes on him when she felt that he was getting more popular. So if you don't know how to run, how to seek for change, and the consequences involved in change, you will be disappointed. And all you're going to say, oh, I don't expect it. I'm surprised to see what is happening. How can you be surprised? You didn't ask. There was nothing guaranteed. Tomorrow is not promising. You just know what is here. Like life will live itself is a risk. So when the president is making some appointing and dismissing people, don't be surprised. They didn't sign any treaty. When you only sign treaty, and that's how it's sustained, and that's what led to the failures of the coalition today. There were things they're supposed to do, but they didn't do it. When that document came, some of us spoke against it. That document was It has no standing. 4 political parties put together. The essence of you putting together was to take state power. And so they should have had a conversation. Thereby, the Unity Party will define our own role. The ANC will define our own role. What you need to put all on the table. If we are elected, this is the ministry that I want. This is it. It's hard, but they have to do it. But guess what? They went into a gentleman's arrangement. Yes, we were more weird. What happened? Out of the 4, 1 was stabbed in the back. Conspiracy theory kicks in. Even we saw that in the factional government. Why do you think people are going to Akosomot, Abuja, and all of those places? At the end of the day, positions were proportionate. They were divided based on your base, your whatever military strength. MPF got what they get. Ulimbo K, Ulimbo J, Lofa Defense Force, this, that. All of those people, the Roosevelt Johnson, Ulimbo K, and all of that, based on your strength and what your role. The party should have done that. CDC did it, but they didn't sustain it. NPP came, they felt there was a next party, and it knows CDC know that in order to get a win, to accommodate, to absorb NPP. So, but they made a position clear. We want a jackpot. We want the presidency. They took the VP slot and gave it to NPP. But beyond that, was there any other legal binding? Even though I get this is the X number of ministry that we need to get. Was there any agreement? I don't know. And that's how they fell apart. That's how Ken Prince Johnson, all of them broke away at loud because he was just looking at oneself to support you or maybe give a little change, and that was it. But I don't think he made it crystal clear. Yes, I'm supporting you, but I need this, and we need to have a bounding agreement before I can do that, or else I walk out of the process. That did not happen. So the path and the road to change is a tough and rocky one. And that's what Gaddafi said. There is no successful revolution without a bloodshed. You don't want to take government from power and you say you went praise John 3:16. No. There is no successful revolution without a bloodshed. Is bloodshed good? No. Nobody wants to kill people. But remember, when you are going through the door, there are other people who there that's their daily bread will have to defend that position. And in the process of defending that position, there will be exchange. And potentially that exchange will be a gunfire and blood will be shed. And that's what he means. So people that are surprised, radio hosts, and that's the danger with us in the media industry as well, because we tend to persuade, we take position, we preach for politicians. We put our lives on the line for politicians. Now, when they fail tomorrow, then the next day, will you come back again and tell them that you're sorry? They don't, usually. So sentiment, emotion does not help when people are taking action to do what they do. Until we, all of us, as a Liberian, as a people, that we will not act on emotions, we will not act on sentiment, but we'll look at both short-term and long-term goal. If I move this, okay, I am moving X, Y, Z. What am I replacing with? What is the plan with this replacement here? In the next 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 6, 10 years, and can we sustain what we are replacing? Those conversations usually are brushed out. And sooner or later, we get to know it. Things fall apart. And when things fall apart, when the central can no longer hold, people become disgruntled. When people become disgruntled, then they're pressing the minds of their followers. Because guess what? All of those people, they have their own followers. And that's one of the reasons for which they support what they support. Now, if they are victims of their own process that they have created, then the somersault and say the process is a fraud. And then that's where the disappointment comes in. Hopefully, we can learn much lessons of change, what sort of change, and we can ask those who are the torch bearers of these changes that are unknown to us but promising. It's not guaranteed. It could work, possibly it could not. And in the process, the victim becomes the victor and the victor becomes the victim. In this case, Sylvester Grisby was with Alexander Benedict Cummings, but guess what? He got a jackpot position because the president of the Republic of Liberia now needs a new loyalist, someone that he confides and trusts can conduct his office effectively. Thank you so much. Have a pleasant evening. I know that's not something you're going to like, but we have to say these things at all times because it's about the country. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Evening, depending on your locations. I am Afonso Zian Salt of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to thank you so much for your commitment to this network, being here with us every night, every afternoon, every evenings, and having these sort of national conversation. It is amazing. It is only because of you, your courage, your resilience, and for the love, overall, for the love of your country. You are not just here for us to see us while we talk, while we agree, while we do not disagree with, but ultimately to see the growth of your country. We want to thank you so much. We are thrilled, we are overwhelmed of your commitment to this network. All of you, whether you agree or disagree with us, by virtue of the fact that you are here every evening, every time we are on, it is a clear indication that we are all in it, regardless of our political background, for the good of the country. But just to give you a little bit backdrop of